Hello everyone, hope you're all having a wonderful day, and today I'm going to go over my best 1 to 50 leveling guide for any Frostbitten rogue build that you've either seen on my channel or anywhere else on YouTube. Sorry, I'm a little late to the party, I know, but I have been super busy and I've also been enjoying Season 1 way too much. That might be the hottest take right now on the internet. Now I am going to start off this video by going over what aspects you guys can go out and get straight away. As soon as you start level 1 character, you can go out and get these aspects because they are a part of the Codex Book of Power. But then there's a small handful that you're going to have to actually farm for yourself, but they're not really needed early game, but as you start getting into late game, you're going to want to keep an eye out for these aspects. Now, aspect number 1 is going to be the Blade Dancer's aspect. This is for your twisting blades. This is going to let your twisted blades do more damage, and now your blades are going to orbit around you when they return back to you. It's one of the strongest aspects for Rogue, and you're going to be able to get this aspect from Jalal's Vigil. Now, some good defensive ones you should probably get straight away if you want to survive a little bit longer and push higher content, get through those capstone dungeons even quicker, is the aspect of Disobedience. Now, you can get the aspect of Disobedience from the Halls of the Damned. Now, this aspect did recently get a nerf, but even with the nerf, it is still too strong to not take, and just about any build is still going to take aspect of Disobedience. Another really good defensive one is the aspect of Might. Whenever you use a basic skill, you're going to get 20% damage reduction up to like 2 to 6 seconds, I think it is. So Might, really good one to pick up early. Now, a good offensive one to get early on, you do have to clear out this stronghold that is here. I can't remember the name of it, but you will get the Underroot dungeon unlocked, and this is going to have the Expectant aspect, which is when you use a basic skill, you're going to increase the damage of your core skill by 5% up to 30%. Obviously, you're only going to get a 15% increase there. This aspect is very strong, works really well for rogues because we are playing off combo points, so when we're trying to build up our combo points by using basic cards, so we're getting that expectant damage without even having to think about it. Now, a really good utility one that you can get early on is Shared Misery, and that comes from the Oblivion dungeon over in Howitzer. Now, what the Shared Misery aspect lets us do is whenever we hit a crowd control enemy, we have a lucky hit chance and a 30% chance to spread that crowd control. So because we are dazing enemies, we are knocking down enemies, we're chilling, all of that can get spread with Shared Misery. Shared Misery is such a strong aspect, and you're going to need it for melee rogue to push high nightmare dungeons. Now, a good offensive one you can get early if you do want to get more damage out of your rogue build is Edgemaster. Haven't actually gone out and gotten this because I was lucky enough to get plenty of aspects with better than a 10% roll, so I haven't needed to go out and get this just yet. I don't use it in my end game build, but it is still very, very solid for early game, just to give yourself like a 10 times increased damage based on how much primary resource you have available. Obviously, you get the maximum 10% damage when you have full resource. Now, upon completing chapter 2, when you do finish all the chapter 2 seasonal objectives, you will get yourself the aspect of Surprise. Now, this is good for later on. Now, you're probably going to get this like subconsciously anyway by just completing the seasonal objective, but this is good to hold on to, and it is good that we get this in our Codex Book of Power. This is really good. This works extremely well with Frostbitten aspect because we're able to then drop our stun grenades when we evade or shadow step, and you can freeze the enemies with Frostbitten aspect that way. Now, another one, and I'm very happy that they did put this in here so us rogues can go out and get a little bit more defense like straight away. And that is when you complete chapter 4, you do get the Umbrious aspect. Now, this is going to give us a lucky hit when we critically strike with our marksman skills. We have a 40% chance to grant free Dark Shroud. Now, this is how we're able to get Dark Shroud without actually having it on our skill bar. And I will explain this more when I get to the skills, but you're not going to want to really take Dark Shroud until you have the Umbrious aspect, because then we can just get it out for free without having it on our skill bar or hotbar. Now for the real kicker, the ones that you actually have to farm yourself, or you need to get lucky with some RNG and get them dropped on some legendary items. Now, the first one being Icy Alchemist. Now, Icy Alchemist, when we use our Shadow Imbued on a chilled enemy, it has a 75% chance to create a Cold Nova explosion that damages all nearby enemies. This chain procs with each other. Your Shadow explodes on the chilled explodes on the next guy. Now he's chilled, and the Shadow keeps just chain reaction like that. It is very, very satisfying to see that prop. Of course, the Frostbitten aspect. The Frostbitten aspect, I thought it was heavily underrated. Now I feel like it's starting to become meta for most rogue melee build just because of how friggin' strong it is, man. Now, our grenade skills have an equal to double our critical strike chance to freeze enemies. So when you pair this with your smoke grenade, the aspect of Surprise where you evade and you're dropping the stun grenade, this does work with the Frostbitten aspect. All grenades, doesn't matter what it is, smoke or stun, works with the frostbitten aspect, and this is why it is so strong, because we're able to get instant freeze procs. We can spread that with shared misery. It's just a hell of a lot of fun to use. Another interesting one to play around with is Noxious Ice. You will have to farm for this one yourself. Again, similar to the frostbitten aspect, but not as strong. When you hit chilled enemies with poison imbuement, it's going to start chilling them 20% more. Now, this early game isn't really that great. You can start building into it in the later game, but I still highly recommend you guys try that out, considering how strong poison imbuement is for Rogue. Now, if you can get insanely lucky and get the Penitent Greaves, I feel like the Penitent Greaves are just meta for just about any build because of the movement speed, and as well as because you're able to just get free chill procs out there. But I know you're not probably going to get the unique boots straight away. It's going to take a little while. So other aspects you can play around with on your boots if you're just searching for any aspects to actually put on there. One that I have really enjoyed using is the Audacity aspect. When there are at least 5 close range enemies in your proximity, you're going to stun all of them for 2 to 4 seconds. This is really strong because this works with concealment as well. You can go concealment, run through a whole pack of enemies, and they will just get stunned as long as there's 5 or more. And this effect can happen every 20 seconds, which is pretty consistent. You can just walk between mob packs and you'll probably have the Audacity aspect ready to go as long as there's more than 5 enemies there. And another one that's really good to play with early game is the Mangler's aspect. That's whenever you damage a vulnerable enemy, you have a lucky hit chance to actually daze them, which is good because it gives us more just free CC whenever we're just damaging vulnerable enemies, and we are playing around with a lot of daze in our skills. Now, I am going to show you guys how I would level up the first 25 levels if you were trying to go for my Frostbitten or any of the Frostbitten Rogue builds that you see on YouTube, and then I will do all the other skill points after that, just because a few things will change as we get more skill points. So for the first 25 levels, we're obviously going to go Puncture, we're going to go Enhanced Puncture, we're going to go Fundamental Puncture, just so we can get down and get Twisting Blades. You're going to want to take Twisting Blades, and we're going to want to go Enhanced Twisting Blades and Improved Twisting Blades, just so we can instant daze enemies whenever we impale them with our Twisting Blades, which is really strong. Now, this is going to get us down to the Agility section. You're going to want to take Shadow Step. Shadow's really good. Shadow Step's really good because it's going to give us Unstoppable. You're also going to want to go ahead and grab yourself Dash. Just having these two agility skills together, Shadow Step and Dash, makes the Rogue insanely fast, probably the fastest leveling class you can actually use. We're going to go back and we're going to put 2 points into Sturdy so we can get 8% close damage reduction. Very nice. We basically want to skip Subterfuge for now, and we want to get ourselves down to the Imbuement section. So we're just going to go ahead and dump 2 more points into Weapon Mastery, and then come back and start filling out some points into Twisting Blades. Now that we have got our Subterfuge, we're going to go ahead and take Shadow, because Shadow is going to be the best for AoE. We're going to take Enhanced Shadow, and then we're going to take Blended Shadow Imbuement. Blended Shadow Imbuement is the main one here that we care about, because when the primary explosion goes off, it's going to make enemies vulnerable. We're going to go ahead and grab Cold Imbuement. We're also going to get Enhanced Cold Imbuement, so we have a lucky hit chance to make enemies vulnerable. And we're also going to take Mixed Cold Imbuement, so we can do more damage to crowd control enemies and also frozen enemies. Now, we've got 3 points left. It's really up to you where you put these. I don't think it really matters too much. If you want more energy regeneration, I would go this way. If you want more damage, just go 2 points here, and then 1 point into Precision Imbuement to give us Imbuement skills more critical strike chance. And Frigid is going to give you more damage against chilled enemies and double that of frozen. And then Consuming Shadows is the only thing we really care about. Each time we kill an enemy with shadow damage, we generate 10 energy. Very good for keeping our energy topped up and giving us more burst damage. And for the rest of the skill points, guys, obviously we're going to come and we're going to finish off Twisting Blades. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points into Siphoning Strikes. I know Siphoning Strikes got absolutely friggin' gutted to hell because they made it a lucky hit chance now, as well as a critical strike chance, and then a 75% chance to actually heal yourself. So yeah, that doesn't add up very well. But not using Siphoning Strikes, you definitely notice it not being there. So it still does give us a little bit of life back, but it's not as OP as what it was before, but we're still going to put 2 points there. Now you want to come back down to your Imbuement, and then you're going to want to take your Consuming Shadows. You want to put your 1 point into Shadowcraft, just so we can get 2 points into Consuming Shadows, which is going to give us some energy regeneration when we're killing enemies with Shadow. We're going to go ahead and put another point into Precision Imbuement, just so we can get down to the key passive Capstone, we're going to take close quarter combat. This is where the build is going to start accelerating, because now every time when we damage a close enemy with a marksman or a cut through skill, each of those skills give us a 10% attack bonus, so we can have 20% attack bonus for 8 seconds. While we have both the attack bonus, we deal 30% increased damage against crowd controlled enemies. This is going to be really good because we are chilling enemies and we are also dazing enemies with our twisting blades. And eventually we will be taking some points out to put into smoke grenade. I'm going to go ahead and get our 1 point into adrenaline rush, just so we can take 3 points into haste. We'll come and put another point in here later. It's not that important right now. Now we want haste just so we can move faster, and we can also have more attack speed. It's really up to you. You guys can come over and get this first before you take more movement speed and more attack speed with haste. But now I'm going to take all of exploit and all of malice. So now we do more damage to healthy and injured enemies. Now we also deal more damage to vulnerable enemies. Very strong. And now that we have got some points in here, around about this time, I would probably take out Shadow Step. We're going to go Concealment, and I'm going to go Skill that breaks Concealment will always be a guaranteed critical strike. Now, Concealment's going to be really good mid-game, because I notice most rogue builds, until they start speccing into energy cost reduction or more energy, using Twisting Blades, it does burn through your energy pretty quickly. So when you're trying to burst down elites and everything, I do like using Concealment, because you can just go through your rotation, you're running out of energy, you go into Concealment, you're going to get 40 energy back. And then I like playing around the critical strike one. You can go vulnerable if you want. I just feel like we make enemies vulnerable enough with everything that we're using. Now we are going to take our points out of dash now as well, and we are going to put them into smoke grenade. Now smoke grenade did recently get buffed. It does give us 20% increased damage to enemies that are affected by smoke grenade. This is going to be really good to get instant CC out there and also increase our damage to the affected target. Now really all we have to do is just go through and fill up some passives now. So we'll take sturdy. We'll go and finish off Weapon Mastery. We'll finish off Position Imbuement. We'll go ahead and we will take another point into Adrenaline Rush. And then I just like to finish off this one because it's not super needed, but it does get really good later on. Now that we are using Smoke Grenade, we have another form of getting daze out there. So we are going to take Rapid Gambit. And we are going to take 2 into Trick Attacks and then 1 into Concussive. Now for the last point, we're going to come down and take Frigid Finesse. Now our last point is going to go into countering Smoke Grenade, so that whenever we hit an enemy affected by a Smoke Grenade, we have a lucky hit chance to reduce our Smoke Grenade's cooldown. Which is really good, because if you drop this on a big enough pack of enemies, you have a chance to get your Smoke Grenade instantly back. Now I did save this for last, because this is only if you have the Umbrious aspect, and it's more suited for endgame than it is like leveling, or just like leveling and just going through the world tiers. But it is still very, very handy to have. And you can kind of insert these 3 points in whenever you get the Umbrious aspect and you put it on your necklace slot. So I am showing this at the end, but if you guys do feel like you need more damage reduction and you want more movement speed, then go ahead and put these 3 points in whenever you have the Umbrious aspect on your necklace. And that is obviously filling out Dark Shroud, Enhanced Dark Shroud, so we have a chance for them to not be consumed. And then we are taking Subverting Dark Shroud, which is each active Dark Shroud grants us 4% increased movement speed. This is really good. This is just going to help you fly through dungeons. You basically run as quick as the horse can run in the overworld. It is absolutely absurd. So this is basically my 1 to 50 leveling guide for any of the Frostbitten rogue builds, whether you're using mine or somebody else's online. So this is just a quick overview for you guys. I will still leave my full Frostbitten rogue guide or my alchemical rogue build in the description below, so you guys can still just go follow that. It'll have all the Paragon board, all the gear slots filled out for you, so you guys can just follow that. But I do hope that this guide still helps you guys get your rogue to level 50 as quickly as possible. I will do a 50 to 100 guide, because I know some people are going to want to know how I start setting up the Paragon board before it gets to how it looks like at the end result. But that's basically it from me, guys. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory. Appreciate all love and support as always, guys, and until next time, stay safe. Peace out.